I'm not crying. I'm slicing onions because I'm making kebab hadi. And that requires a lot of onions if you are familiar with anything regarding Egyptian cuisine. You're also going to hear my microwave beeping over and over because I just defrosted a bunch of meat. And you're probably going to hear it during this whole video because I'm too busy doing something and I'm not going to leave what I'm doing to go turn off the microwave. So kind of live with what you're about to face. Now, I want to have a conversation with Canadians because a lot of Canadians are coming on here and telling a lot of people like myself, or just having the conversation very openly, that, you know, it was the fault of the pro-Palestine people that Kamala lost, and that, you know, we now somehow have learned or should learn from this mistake or should feel some kind of way and have empathy towards all of your issues that you are concerned about, etc. Now, I'm going to say something abundantly clear for anybody who still has any doubt about that situation. We do not take responsibility for Kamala losing. First off, we are not a pro-Philistine community. We are not a leftist community. We are people who are done being told and being gaslit systemically, societally, that we're asking for too much. By simply asking that we stop mass unaliving and committing G-sides on the countries from which you imported us in the first place. And let me be abundantly clear that this doesn't just include Palestine, it includes Congo, it includes Sudan, it includes so many of us displaced individuals who have seen what the government in Canada, of so-called Canada, and the government of the so-called United States have done to our lives back there, only to coerce us into somehow ending up here and somehow feeding your capitalistic bullshit machine. I guess you all got lucky because I am opening the microwave to take out the meat because I still have to wash my meat before I cook it. So, you're welcome. I've also seen many videos where many of you are discussing how disingenuous it is to have basically a single issue voting as if this is a single issue thing. You guys miss the mark completely with that argument because what you fail to understand, and I think it's willful. I don't think it's that you can't understand. I think it's that you refuse to understand, okay? That if we make one person disposable, then everyone becomes disposable. But you can't think about that because that is the dream, that is the delusion that you are sold. This is the freedom that you've had this entire time. Has always been built on the backs of somebody else, even on the backs of those same people, even when it was being stepped on your own land. Indigenous peoples. We consistently forget about that. And here's the thing. Many people who are being activists for Palestine do work within the community. We already do those things. We do the breakfasts at schools. We do volunteer work time at our hospitals. We do volunteer work times wherever we need to do. Some of us actually work within our communities to try and make them better because, you know, some of us had the delusion once upon a time that we could change the world. Because, you know, American and Canadian commercials keep telling us that we can do that. But I think we're quickly learning that we are changing the world, just not in the direction that we intended to. Because we've been changing the world this entire time, making it a more and more hostile place, more and more inhospitable, more and more of a major issue. Do you think that what is happening right now in Palestine is not going to have some sort of a climatic catastrophe or social catastrophe or economic catastrophe that isn't still going to trickle down and continue to harm the people that are continuously suffering at the bottom here? Or do you think that the unmelanation of your skin protected you? That lack of melanation that doesn't protect you from the sun. Somehow, your superpower is that you're going to somehow evade or avoid the situation, even though many of you are already in that situation. You're already in that situation. You're already feeling the effects. And by the way, those are also effects of colonialism. Because capitalism is colonialism, and colonialism is capitalism, and you can interchange them all you want because they are quite literally the same thing. And let me hold your hand when I say this. Your left-leaning party were never left-leaning in the first place. They weren't even center-leaning, okay? You as a society have always been conservative, even though you like to point a finger at Islam. and say that those religions and those societies are extremely conservative and they need to be eradicated to give freedom to women. Yeah, that went well in Algeria. It went well in Algeria, went well in Iraq, went well in Afghanistan, went well in Iran. The problem is actually your conservatism, that you refuse to see as conservatism because you think that because you could go out in a bikini if you want to, that you are somehow liberating your women. Or that somehow you don't have fascism already existing within your community. And the fact is, you're already faux left parties that were cosplaying as liberating parties were already right-leaning. And they continue to go more right. And if you continue to vote for them, it's because your rightness has no boundary. You're willing to go far right. And I'm willing to bet that if suddenly the lefter of two parties was MAGA, I'm willing to bet you would still vote for them too. Strategic voting is based on self-preservation. It's not based on changing the status quo. It's not based on liberation. It's not even based on temporary preservation of systems that give us an opportunity to do something better or a conversation, whatever the fuck excuses you guys have been using. They don't do any of those things. You're just lying to yourselves and thinking that we're going to listen to your lies and allow you to say them to us so that you have a scapegoat, like a toxic family tends to have a scapegoat, to blame everything on, while simultaneously they are refusing to not be dysfunctional. So at the end of the day, whether you're upset that AOC and Bernie are getting criticism for being Yahtzees, or whether you're upset at us, who've been saying the things about Carney all along, you may think you're right, but you're not even remotely one step into being informed, or aware, or intellectual about your decisions. And let's be perfectly honest about who you are. If you existed during the time of the Holocaust, you would have done nothing. And the Holocaust would have still happened. You would have prevented and stopped and protected nothing. Things would have happened exactly like they did, only on your territory and on your watch, not over in Europe. And to those of us who are on my side, okay, who are on the side of like awake, aware, so on and so forth, stop putting your energy or hope in saying that someday these people are going to be telling their children and grandchildren about how embarrassed they were about the things that they have been doing right now, today. They won't be. Because Iraq has taught us that they won't be. Afghanistan has taught us that they won't be. Iran has taught us that they won't be. Rwanda has taught, Congo has taught us that they won't be. Sudan has taught us. Like, I could go, missing and murdered Indigenous women has taught us all that those people don't give a fuck. So stop having hope in the future. That is purely delusion. And this isn't about being a negative Nancy. Your fake optimism is your willful delusion as well. And if you're going to actually be radicalized enough to make a change of some sort, to actually self-preserve, and self-preserve happens on a communal level, not on an individual level. That's what self-preservation does, okay? It only preserves the community, not the individual. It doesn't work when you just preserve the individual. So, if we're actually going to do that, we're going to have to be honest with ourselves and stop not tolerating the intolerable. Stop tolerating the intolerance and stop repeating and justifying the BS. So all of us collectively, in whatever role we play, sit the F down in that discomfort. And in case you're wondering, this is how much onions I cut today with some garlic.